Stop. Let's get physical. Physical. Alright. Turn myself off. What's so similar situation to yesterday. This time we're going into more of the nitty gritty like detail for those who play actual Warhammer tabletop. Because I do. I am that kind of nerd. The OG. So, Custodes is the army I've been playing a lot. It's technically my first army, but not the first army I played with. That would be Knights, but I've been. Let's say in terms of this army, I have 90% of these models, unfortunately, because they are Forge World. I think the only ones who I don't have is the weird jet bike guy, you, and that's it. But I know what these three do, and then besides this one, they're not impressive. So, I would rank myself as knowing the army very well, but I know I'm like amateur. Like I've done a couple of RTTs. I've won a handful of the, not won a handful of the RTT, but like won games within the RTT. Usually like 1 in 3 or something like that, you know. Um, so this is coming from an at best an amateur. So, all right, let's get started. Let me get leaned in. Let me take the initial sip of coffee. Ah, good sip, good sip. So, let me pull up on my phone weird jet bike guy. Okay, just because it's a jet bike in Custodes, it's probably here. I actually don't know what's the difference between this one and was the other jet bike. This guy, the Virtus Platos. I know this is a Forge World model. That's why I don't have him. Let's pull him up. What are these guys fucking called? Is it the Agamatus? Yeah, it has to be. Okay, yeah. So, you're getting a 12-inch move, T6, 2 save, 4 wounds. You're getting fast, weaker than Terminators. Okay, your range. 1 attack, already sucks. Hitting on 2s, your Custodes, that's fine. 3 shots with the Bolter is fine. It's not great. Twin Last Pulsar, that's okay. That's. How many points are these guys? They have Lance, but stand to you're okay. You can auto advance 6. Well, just every time you advance, so you have an 18-inch range. Once per game, after this model is shot, it can make a normal move up to 6. If it does, until the end of the turn, you're not a. So you could get a double move, but you can't charge. I don't know what would. I mean, for like tricky movement, sure, but you. Okay. What, any of your guns assault? Wait, so if you advance, you can't. No, you won't be able to do it because none of your guns are assault. So you won't. I'm confused. All right, unit comp 3 to 6. 240 for 3 is not bad just by being custodes. And I think you have better points value than the Virtus Praetors, who I think comes in bands of like 2. So that's a little better, but in an army that needs every point when you're making a custodes army, it's very much doing your taxes. Uh, And what I mean by that is that you don't have the luxury of other armies to having a lot of pet units because how point was strained. This, to me, is a low tier option. In any other army, it's a decent one. It's a shooting platform that doesn't shoot all too well. It's fast and has multiple options to be fast, but custodes want to be stuck in charging or ready to receive the charge. And that means like if you can't charge this turn, better be on the objective so you could pop your 2C fight first on the objective. You know what I mean? Have that, you want to play tight triangle is what I've been realizing is in most games of 40k, you only out of 5 or 6 objectives, you only need to sit on 3 to win the game. Sometimes 2 and sometimes more. But for the most part, if you're only sitting on 3 objectives and your opponent's sitting on 2, you're going to win the game. Not including secondaries, of course, because secondaries can put things. So, these guys don't do anything you want them to do. They're fast, sure. Their shooting sucks. They can't advance charge. I I don't know why only one. I know why. If they had the ability to advance charge, or say after their fight phase, their once again shooting ability was actually a fight phase ability, that would actually be excellent. That would probably move them up to a solid option. And also, they're only T6 while they're in a bike. Make them T7. They're weaker. They're same as our basic custodian guard, which doesn't make much sense to me. And only 1 wound extra. Make them 5 wounds. What's keeping them in low tier is the fact that their 240 for 3 is, I don't think, is bad. You're getting an extra body in there. Versus, actually, let's do these guys next, since we're kind of talking about bikes in general. I think these guys are here. I think you could only bring, 3 of them, or 4 of them in a maxed out squad? And, so what's keeping these guys up is that I think they're slightly better than these guys. But let me pull up the data sheet just so I have it open. Virtus Poitors were so good last edition, where it was spammable. And especially with an invincible, bike captain. So let's pull up Virtus Poitors. Alright. They could auto move, sure, they have the exact same. Once per battle, at the end of the event, you can select one move it moved over, and roll a d6 for each model. For each 2 up, it suffers 2 mortal wounds. That sounds okay. Until you realize it's kind of hard to position a big, awkward fly base into anything that's a horde or anything that's big or whatever. In terms of stat line, it's identical to this guy. Shooting, it's fucking anemic. It doesn't matter, it's bad. It used to be pretty good. Lance Interceptor, it's standard custodian with Lance, so it's good. 4 wounds. What keeps it back is unit comp. 2 to 3 sucks for 160 a model. Actually, you could want 3 of them at 240 because they're 80 points a model. That makes it equal to this guy. I think both of these are just bad. I don't see anyone. I don't know anyone wanting these 2. Now, the only reason you would want this guy is for this guy. But I kind of want to do in order of stuff. So if we have any more bikes, we'll do bikes, but I don't think we do, so we can move on. But yeah, I think both bikes are just an excuse to bring in the bike captain, who I actually think is pretty good. The only issue is that he can only lead bikes, which are bad. And in an army where 240 buys you this tank, or buys you a squad of these idiots, just about, you can't bring them. Okay. Let me organize this a bit so I could kind of organize my thoughts, because some of these kind of go into each other. I want all the sisters. This is a character, so I could do sisters. Okay, let me do do it like this. Because custodes have a lot of like variations of shit. Like we have a bunch of different Terminators, different Dreadnoughts, that kind of stuff. But I think it's more, how to put it. You have a lot of options, but you really don't have a lot of options. A lot of custodians are playing all the same way now. Oh, okay. Well, I guess if we're doing bikes, we got to do the bike captain next. So, bike captain would be good. And actually, let me pull up his stat line too. I imagine it's identical. It's identical, yeah. His shooting anemic, which whatever. Um, his melee, he gets one extra attack with lance. It's okay. It's really good, but you better be sure. Sweeping advance, leading a unit, you can consolidate up to 6, and once per battle in the fight phase, if you're in engagement range, it can fall back and charge. Oh, sorry, no, it can fall back as if it were your movement phase, or if it is not within engagement range, it can make a normal move as if it were your movement phase. So, pretty good movement, especially when you pair. I mean, it could be paired with this guy's, because he can lead these guys. Once per battle, free battle tactic, which is fine. Um, slap in, uh, slap in like Ceaseless Hunter, and you have a pretty good unit. Except for until you realize you're paying, how much is it? 180 for the captain, 25 points for whatever, 25 to 30 points for whatever enhancement you give him. Let's say you give him Ceaseless Hunter, that's like 210. So you're paying like 240 for a maxed out squad of these guys with a bike captain who's 210. So you're paying 450 for a 4-man unit essentially. And 5 attacks per guy, that's 15, and for 21 swings, as opposed to 5 guardsmen who each get, then when you slap in a leader, that's like 400 and you get 30 attacks. He belong. If you're just looking at him, he's I would say he's pretty good for what he does. However, because he only leads these two, he's failed. His Warhammer right now is no longer you don't get bodyguard effects because he only leads these two. He's bad. You bring him by himself, and also his ability only activates when he's leading a unit too. That's good to mention. You bring him by himself, he's just going to get sniped or ignored because, I mean, 6 attacks. You're doing a lot of damage, but only to things that like have a high wound density. So like knights, you go slam him into like guardsmen, and he might actually be stuck for a couple rounds. All right, bikes are over. Let me keep fucking organizing this. I want to do all the heroes down here. I want to do like the birds up there. We could do Terminators. They're an auto include. These guys are great. Um, are they S tier or solid option? No, I would say solid option is like, ooh, solid option. They're S tier for what they do. Whether you want them as one big block or 2 mans or some variation of 2 to 3 mans. I like running 2 squads of 3 because I find one 2-man is just not enough to really do much besides scoring objectives. I like these guys a lot. They basically anything that is a vehicle or a monster or a character that we're rolling all wounds against blocks of infantry, especially like guard or cultists, that kind of thing. With their shooting phase alone, they will blast whatever off the board. They're very good at that. And also, they're very hard to shift at T7 as opposed to T6. Like, not a lot of stuff is strength. I actually don't know if anything is strength 7, to be honest. Um, they're a big cutoff unit. Like, their once a game ability to go back into Deep Strike and come back down is really good. I think they're an auto include for any army. Whether even if you want them in a 6-man block, as that's kind of more memey, I feel, because you're paying like 420 points for that, and then you're probably wanting a captain, so it's even more. I mean, you could start them in a transport move them across the board, put them down, put them back in reserve, have them come down. Like, there's a lot of tricks you could do, and they add a lot of flexibility to our army. I wouldn't say they're carrying the faction, but in terms of elite infantry, they do their job astoundingly well. Um, there's not much more to say. They fight good, they shoot good, and they taste good. No. Alright, now let's look at the red-headed stepchild. Uh, the much cooler looking, though. If this is a fashion contest, they fucking win. But it's not. Uh, they're the Aquilin. Their guns are, so they got flamers. You're playing for D6 attacks for strength 6 AP1 damage 1. The way you, in my opinion, view guns, at least for an elite army, is how many Space Marines in a single shooting phase can this one gun take out? Or this one shooting platform can take out. These guys have Landstrom bolters, strength 5, AP1, damage 1, 2 shots. So at best, you're killing a single Space Marine a turn, and then your fucking Infernus Pike. At best, you kill 2 Space Marines a turn. You're one shot. Anything that has one attack is, again, even with hitting on 2s at strength 6. Anything that's one shot is just, in a game that rolls dice, your odds do not favor you of hitting, wounding, then failing a save. That's 3 barriers of entry for your damage to get through. Their shooting is anemic. It's not good. Let's look at the melee. So they got Power Gauntlets, which is Strength 8, 5 attacks, AP2 damage 2. That's actually pretty good. Their Power Talons, though, suck. Damage 1, you're not killing the wings. I guess it's the sweep option, but it's like easy to say, oh, this is clearly an anti-chaff infantry unit. But you know what else is that? Your entire fucking army is very good at cleaning up chaff. And also that's our weakness too, is that we cannot afford, we have to be very particular with who we select our targets and who we fight against. Like, if you're slamming your 400-point Terminator unit, you and into chaff, I bet your opponent's just smiling like, okay, why not? Alright, heavy assault and actually don't know what their abilities are. Alright, each time makes a range attack, we will wound roll 1 for range, and it has to be the closest enemy unit. No, that's bad. It's not good. I mean, it's fine, sure. What from Golden Light? Alright, they have the exact same thing. Lions of the Emperor. If model from your army with the leader, yeah, okay, so it just lets you war gear options. You could you could replace the Landstrom Bolter with Infernus. Oh, you can't even. Okay, so it's a swap out. Okay, what's the 3 to 6? Okay, so they're costed identical. This is like, by virtue of being this, if they were 1 point more than these guys, they're low tier. This is pet unit tier. This is, you bought the unit, just won them as, okay, if you bought this unit and you're trying to argue yourself why you should play them as they are, just won them as these guys. No one will care. And if they do care, just tell that person they won the game, because you shouldn't be playing with that person. Because that person, if that person should just relax. If it's not a fucking even if it's an RTT, fucking relax. Like, who cares? Warhammer's fun. Don't make it not fun. Anyway, side thing over. Yeah, these are low tier. These guys are good because their shooting is good against certain things. These guys are bad because their shooting is so hyper specifically. It's just not good. It's just very bad. Versus rerolling all wounds if it's character vehicle monster, versus rerolling only wounds with 1 if it's the closest target. Yeah, it's not good. I don't like it. I don't like it. Alright. Let's look at the bird. Moving on to vehicles. Yeah. This is a pet. This is a pet unit. This is you arguing yourself that it's good and tricking yourself. It's not good. This is not the Aries gunship, it's the smaller one. Um, one of these is the Aries, and then one of these is the Orion, and I don't know which one. Is it the Aries? Okay, I'm assuming this one's the Aries because it's smaller. Okay, 20 plus move. Oof. T12, good. 2 up save. 22 wounds, 5 up invul. I don't get this. I don't get why just 5 up invul for something that costs as much as. I assume this is like a 300 to 400 point unit. It's 580 points. Give it a 4 up invul. It makes the game feel really weird when basic infantry, these idiots, have a 4 up invul versus a 5 up invul. 2 up save is good. But yeah, you're paying almost, let's round it up, 600 points in an army that your basic 5-man squad is 225, 250, something like that. And when you slap a character upwards of 400, it anyway, we'll get shooting. A Whackness Heavy Blaze Cannon. 4 attacks hitting on 2, strength 12, AP 3, damage D6 plus 1. Really good. Magna Blaze Cannon. 3 shots, 2 hitting on 2s, strength 18, AP 4 damage, D6 plus 6. That is mean. That this is killing something reliably. Whatever you decide needs to die in that general fucking direction. Alright, melee attacks. Does this thing have Kata? It does. It knows karate stances. That's a great. Alright. Melee's not bad, to be honest. Strength, 9 attacks. I mean, it is bad. It's a vehicle, but still. It's funny. It does have hover, so this does. It has anti-fly, but I'm willing to bet the person you go against doesn't really bring anti-fly if they're going against you. Okay. Infernus Firearms. Ends a normal move you can select and moved over, and models cannot have the benefit of cover. Okay. In addition, roll 1d6 for each model that you for each 6, one more one. That's bad. Turning off cover, sure, that's good. But that's a lot of strategic movement with a really big, like, model. I think at 600 points, it will kill whatever you pointed at. It's not a transport, so its sole job, and it's OC0, its sole job is to kill stuff. I think it's low tier, and I think it's worse than these guys by virtue of being so pricey that it's not usable. It's scary. It's shooting. In terms of just shooting, it's great. No transport, no OC. It takes up 1/4 of your army, a little over, for a shooting platform. Your opponent will put every gun in their army into this thing, and by turn 2, it's probably dead. With it just, they have to, and it just doesn't play. None of your strats are gonna work on this, I think. Maybe -1 to damage. Yeah, that's about it. That's the only one I can think of. It's bad. Well, its stat line looks great. Overpriced. Big boy. This one's a bit different because if, assuming this is the Orion, which I think it is, it looks bigger at least on the image. Okay. Identical in terms of stat line with 5 up invul, so it has the Awakeness, it has the Spine Launcher, which AP1 damage 2 is good, Strength 7 is good, D6 plus 6 blast, that's really good. Yeah, that's a weapon. That's a good weapon. And then it has a regular bolter, the improved Custodian bolter, which is fine. Armored Hull abilities. It has Assault Dropship. That is really good. Now, here's the bad part. It could carry 1 Contemptor Dreadnought. It could carry 1 Dreadnought or 12 infantry models. That's actually pretty good. But here's the kicker. How much does it cost? You're paying 700 points. 690. So, 700 points. It's good. But it's quite literally the flagship of your army. It moves 20, which is great. And then the ability to, what is it, an assault, charge, and alternative advance. On a board edge, that's only, 48 inches max, like 50 inches max? And then you could be, whatever you want to charge will be able to charge. It's just not an, I'm talking just strict competitive play. It's not good. It performs well. It also has the forge. This guy, this guy are all playing the financial Forge World tax too, or I guess Warhammer World, or whatever the fucking new website's called. So this guy's like $600, something like that. This guy's like 200 something, and this guy's like 100 for a hundred something for like a 3-man squad. And I don't even want to know. Bikes are always expensive. Um, this is, yeah, it's just, what is that? That's the sisters line. I'll put that here actually, because you're not wanting this without that. Excuse me. So, um, I do put it above this one though, because you can make the argument that you can safely transport whatever it is you need to transport basically anywhere you want to go. And you could do it with 2 5-man squads and 2 characters, which is good. And then it has so many wounds, your opponent. The only bad thing is that you're basically putting your entire army in this one thing at the top of the game. You wing this, you don't really have much room for this, and you don't really have much room to build your army on. I don't, unless you're playing a 3,000 point game, and then in which it's different. But yeah, at a 2K competitive game, is it even an option? I don't. I don't think this one is. I think this one is like transport is keeping you up there. We'll shift things around. All right. Caladius. Definition of you either bring none of these or you bring 3. Alright. You either belong here or here. I think you belong here. In terms of, and this is strictly in terms of within custodians, not outside, like compared to other factions. So this is strictly like, because if this was a Space Marine thing, like transport, and it performed similarly, but it was costed at Space Marine costed, where it would probably be like 300-400 points, I assume. I don't know Space Marines. This would be a viable option, but in Custodes it's not, because we don't have cheaper options. Custodes is paying taxes with your points. Anyway, Calidus. Oh, Caladius. Yeah. Alright. You have basically 4 shots at this guy's cannon, and then the other ones you don't bring. They're not realistic options. Like, that. Yeah, it has 2 different variants. It has the anti-tank gun and the anti-infantry gun. You know what's anti-infantry? Your entire fucking army. So, you bring the anti-tank gun, it gives you lethal hits, which is fine. You don't really need it, you're wounding most things on 2s. And if you're not, you're wounding it off ways. But lethal hits is nice. Moves well. It'll be it's 200 points too, so it's relatively cheap. That's why you see lists wanting either. I will say, it is the Forge World tax you pay. So you're paying like $200 for this guy, probably 250. I don't know. It's been a while since I bought one of these guys. If you get 3D printed, 3D printed. I don't care. Besides that, do not want just one of these. It's too swingy. If you want to reliably kill vehicles, you need at least 2. So you can't just want one of them. You need to want 2 of them to get the most. And here's the thing: being 200 points or 210, whatever the fuck it is, it's like some within that range. I know it's not 190, so it's like 210. You could afford to bring 2 of these. You just will bring less of these guys or one less character, and like it skews your list. But yeah, you could bring two of these, and they will perform well for you. So they're good. They are probably up. That you must bring at least one. Any list I see brings at least one list of these guys. Not everyone. I don't want any of these, and I perform fairly well. So I think these guys are mandatory. This guy can be mandatory. But if you don't bring one, bring two to three. Okay. Oh, my beloved. Oh, my. I have two of these things for some reason. I don't know how. Because I didn't buy them for Virgil. I think I bought them at like an auction or some shit like that. Okay. Or like a garage sale type thing. Um, 200 points isn't bad. You transport, I think, what, 8? So, which is a weird fucking number. I guess you could do 2 4-man squads of these idiots, or basically just 1 5-man plus character. It's like 200 points. Yeah, let me just pull it up. The Corona Squad carrier is what it's called. T12 moves 12. It doesn't have assault web, which sucks. It has fire support, which bad. Sorry. Um, it basically anything it shoots is that won't you get to reroll the wound roll, which is pretty good. So you attack something with the Landstrom Bolter first, and then you hit it with the actual twin Aquos Blaze Cannon, which actually just sucks. This thing's shooting is terrible. It's an it mows down chaff, which it's not killing Space Marines, so I don't care. Most of our army, if most of your shooting in your army could take out chaff, can wipe chaff. Most of fucking the basic Guardian Spear can take out chaff too, or even fucking takes out Marines. Anyway, rerolling wound roll's good, but low damage. Okay, you're bringing this strictly to be a transport. It can carry 8, and that is a weird fucking number because I guess it's literally only carrying these guys. Is like the idea is you carry these guys in this. Um, Because a 5-man squad with a character 6, then what can you bring with 2? I guess 1 2-man squad of it, but that seems weird. Um, as much as and it doesn't have assault ramp too, so you're just literally using this as a strict transport. And you're paying the forge roll price. It's bad. No assault ramp sucks. It's not a shooting platform. Its job is to transport, and I don't think it does it well. I think there are better options, namely you or you. So, doesn't do it. If its guns were better, sure, maybe, but it's not designed to be that. Which is fine if it could be a decent transport. If it doesn't have assault ramp, I'm not interested. And also, moving 12, you advance it to get it to the objective, sure, but literally, so turn 1, its job is to move your guys safely to the objective. Um, and if it can't do that, if it gets shot off the board, which it's probably not going to happen, what does it do after it moves your guys? Yeah, plink damage, I guess. So yeah, it's low tier. I don't like it. Give it assault ramp, and then it becomes very viable. I will say that. But uh, they GW kind of made land raiders a little mandatory for everyone. So everyone wants to get a land raider. Let me do vehicles. Actually, let me put this line out here. That way we could do vehicles, then old dreadnoughts, then... Yeah, let me organize this a bit better. There we go. Alright. Yeah. I actually think Toppa failed. You really belong in there, because you are so supremely overcosted. These guys are just... If they were... literally point... Just kind of doing my homework. If these guys were 1 point more expensive than these guys, they belong here. But they're not a realistic option. Alright, the phallus, which sounds like a slur, or this is like the fast shooting boy. Bad shooting. Dev wounds and twin link is nice, but one damage is not at 24 inches. Armored hull doesn't do anything. Okay. Merciless hunter. If you target something that is below half strength, add one to the wound roll. Yeah, and your T8 with 5 up invul with 9 wounds at 120 points. Actually, you belong here. You are supposed to be shooting stuff, and you don't do it that well. And here's the thing: in any other army, this is actually pretty good. Custodians, no, we're too elite for that. You're basically paying for something that's a little bit better than a regular Guardian Spear Squad at 120 points for dev wounds and twin links. At one it needs to be at least, if you're gonna have it be strength 5, AP1, make it damage 2. Don't make it, like, I don't see any reason for it not to be damage 2. It's not a real option. It doesn't do its job. Oh, you're saying chaff clearing. Basic Guardian Spears clear chaff far more effectively. With reroll to wounds, especially on this guy's double shoot. Even after the nerf. Okay. Um, da da da. Okay. Let's go to the Land Waiter. This thing is so good. Moves 10, T12. Who cares about that? 16 wounds, Jesus Christ. Alright, range guns. You will bring the fucking God Hammer Layers Cannon for. What's it pointed at? It's like 200 something, right? 240. Ooh, it's kind of pricey. Its shooting is fine with the last cannons. You get 4 of them, so 4 shots hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s, most of the time AP3, damage 1. Damage D6 plus 1. That's pretty good. It could only carry 6. So you could carry 1 squad. And it's probably going to be a squad that doesn't have a blade champ. That being said, it might be a squad where you have a blade champ, because that being said, it has assault ramp. Which is, after it makes no move, that unit is eligible to charge. 240 is rough. However, it gives you flexibility and gets you where you need to go, and your opponent will have to put a lot of shooting to bring this thing down. It has no fucking invul whatsoever, so you're relying heavily on that 2-up save. That being said, I don't think unless you're going Eldar, you fucking Wake Knight, but if you're doing that at that point, just give up the game because you're not going to win. I have a whole side tangent for why I think Eldar, just Fate Dice as a whole concept, need to go. But that's not here or there. So, yeah, but solid option. You wing this guy. He's affordable. You either put one of these squads in there with him to get the reroll on charges, just to be extra secure, or you put it with Trajan or something. By the way, if you bring Trajan, most of the time your opponents will just flat out ignore him, which is great. So, I don't know. My experience with Trajan's been weird, because the last 4 or 5 games I've had, he's just stood on the center objective, not doing anything, and my opponent just lets me sit there comfortably. So, good for me, I guess. Okay. Sisters Wino. You could only carry sisters. And I assume you cost like 100 points, probably 100 points. You carry a unit that I want to just sit in my home objective and do nothing. You can be given scout if you heavily invest in sisters in a custodes army. I have never once considered bringing this. It's failed, but because these units aren't good for anything besides sitting at home objective and paying the home objective tax. Its shooting is whatever, but it can literally only carry these idiots. No one's building his sisters list because they're not good. Which sucks, guy. I have like 15 sisters I want to play. Okay. Yeah, but that's a quick one. That's like, and it's not top of field. It's like, I would bring, I would want a meme list of only Virtus players before I want a heavy sisters list. None of our strats works on system, but I'll save that for when we get here. The reason why this is bad is because these are bad. Or these have one job, and it's not to kill. Okay. Dreadnoughts. I have one of each of these Dreadnoughts. I'll start with the best one first. He's I don't see many lists. He has the ability on a 2-up to come back at 4 wounds. His shooting's meh. His melee is meh. Your average squad does better melee on average than he does. But the ability to come back on a 2 is really good. How much does he cost? If he's like way over 200 points, you don't bring him. Unit comp. 185. Okay, I think he's a solid. I think you could justify blinging the basic ass contemptor. Not with an engagement. As close as possible, and not with an engagement. So it could start. Your opponent charges it. Oh, it only comes back with D6. D6 more. D6 wounds. You can't reroll that either. That's a little less good. It's kind of. At 185, can you really justify it? It's average. Which does not speak well for these fucking idiots down here. Which I used to want to list the 9th where it was Dreadnought heavy. I called it March of the Ancients, and I have quite a few. I have 2 of these guys, 2 of these guys, and 2 of these guys. Which now I'm kind of. I'm a Custodes fan. I like gold. Alright. At nearly the cost, he's a little less than a God Squad, but not by much. He's like 50 points less than a God Squad. His range, he hits on 2s. He could bring in multi-melter, which is fine, but it's not. I mean, melters in general are fine, but whatever. He's average. I don't see many less wanting any Dreadnoughts of any sort. But D6 is really swingy. I think. Did he get enough? Because I thought he came back at 4 wounds. I didn't realize it was just D6. But, where's the coolest Dreadnought in the game, just in terms of looks? This is what I think of when I think of a Dreadnought. These guys are pretty good too. But my god, is this guy the Giga Chad. Alright. Tell him on. Let's look at price. 235. Okay. It's not. What do? Subtract 1 from the damage characteristic. Can that stack with the -1 damage strat? I'm not entirely sure, but if it can, that actually is pretty good. Alright, you could get the Storm Cannon, which is heavy bolter, which is bad. But it does have dev wounds, but that's whatever. Its shooting is just bad. It used to be a really good shooting platform, which is a shame. Armored Feet, you don't use that one, you use... Why does GW give you this fake option? Okay, for 5 attacks, hitting onto Strength 7 AP 0 damage 1, or you could have 5 attacks at 2... Oh, I know why they gave you this. It's in case you won one with just no hand. If you bring this guy, you bring his hand. Surprised if you're wanting him with 2 gauntlets, he doesn't get twin linked, because that usually is what happened. But his melee's actually really good. He's an anti, especially when you mix in Katars. His melee's pretty good. 5 attacks, hitting on 2, strength 12, AP 2, damage 3. That's great. That's not a bad profile whatsoever. 235. That's one entire guard squad though, and subtract one for damage is not great. I put him at the top of low tier. I think he's better than these idiots. If you want, I just like him because he's cool. I'm not being fair. These guys are technically more flexible in point scoring, even though they. I'm leaving in there, but that's from high favoritism. And that's me like making every argument I can make to justify leaving him there. Alright. Contempt Achilles. Is this the one with the spear? Yeah, it's the Dread Spear. There we go. Okay. 5 attacks with Lance when charging, hitting on 2s, 5 up T6, T9, 6. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot something. These are all low tier. Even this guy. Movement of 6. Gross. And if that guy's there, this guy has to be like here. Movement of 6, and the abilities are, this is the Mortal Wound guy on charges. Well, I'm just going to save myself the time. They all belong here. And more than likely down there. Movement of 6 is abhorrently slow for a vehicle, for like a walker. What's a base... What is a, like a Contempted Dread move? Well, not a contempt. Fucking this. Oh, locked contact. I can't look at it, even though I'm fucking. Okay, I can't look at it, but I don't know what a regular Space Marine Dread moves. But fucking 6 is slow as molasses. That's bad. That's not great. Yeah. Shooting bad. Melee's fine. Melee's fine. Melee's fine. Ooh. But they don't do anything. Your army's already really good at melee with its base stuff. It's if you're bringing a Dread, unfortunately, you got to bring this guy. This is really the most competitive option, but he really isn't all that competitive. This is like the weird Forge World, like the pilot spears. I don't know what they do. Uh, these are like custodians with out of sight and pilot spear. I think it's just better shooting. So you get one shot, bad. Strength 5 is good, AP 2 is good, damage 3 is good. One shot's bad. So 5 shots. If you put it... Do they have the same double shoot? Stand vigil. We will wound wolves of 1. Okay, that's pretty good. No fool shall say. Once a battle in your shooting phase... If it does, the range equipped have lethal hits and ignores cover. Okay. AP 2 puts most basic infantry on... So can you bring both out of sight and pilot spears, or is it one or the other? No, it's one or the other. Okay, so basically 5 melter shots, strength 9, AP 4, and if you're within 6, and then the melee I assume they're identical. Yeah, their melee is identical to base guard. So okay. No. And do they cost more? 300 points. Yeah, that's a hard no. This is a failed option. This is not a real option. 300 points for 5 shots? No. Absolutely not. That's a failed option. That's not a real choice. Okay, from now on, I'm just going to look at that points cost, and that will tell me right away if this is even fucking real. Good news. We've mostly cleared all the bad shit, which unfortunately is mostly Forge World, and this tank. And this idiot. To be fair to this guy, and these guys are like, way... Yeah. This guy's more like up here. He's just bad because these guys are really bad. Okay. your literally your army's being carried by 3 units. It's this one, and this guy. Um, I Okay, my current comp is 1 squad of guard, 2 squads of wardens, and then 2 3-mans of these guys, and then other shit, characters and like an assassin. Um, S tier. They fight good. They shoot good. They fight good. Double shoots good. We will wound wills of one. One second. What? I'm back. Probably no other string today besides this, but we'll do it. Alright, back to it. Where were we? Ah, yes. So, they are auto include. These two are auto includes in every army I see. Are they S tier? They shoot good. They do melee good, and they're good at sitting on objective. And when you mix them with Trajan, um, they're really good. Then S tier for the army, I would put them at like solid option. They're not overclocked. They used to be better in the 10-man, because it's just a lot to chew on, and I don't think it was broken. I just think it was strong. So I don't think that nerf was necessarily justified, as well as points increases in an army that's already super expensive. So, um, I bring 2 of these guys. I bring only 1 of these guys. All right. Maybe I should also add like what leaders to bring. Uh, these guys are your offense. These guys are your getting you where you need to go safely. So, what I like doing is putting Trajan with this block, and then putting my Blade Champs with this block. But I'll get to that later, how I use these guys. But I like these guys more than these guys. I like Vixel and Shield with one. I want a free Vixel on this one because it's free. And I sit in the middle of the board and say, come at me. These are great. These 3 make up your army. This guy is a fashion choice. You won this. I won all infantry custodes. And I have a good time with it. Even now. So, Sergeant Tom, not much to say, to be honest. They're just your best units. These 3 make up the. These guys score points, so do these, so do these. This could interchange. You can make an argument for any one of these to be an S tier unit in the army. These guys, top of low tier. That's an easy choice. They are a shooting unit that gets dev wounds at strength 5. 3 shots apiece is not bad. They are killing stuff. 38 6 range is good. They're cheap, good. They are a pet unit. The melee is actually not bad. It's surprisingly good. That being said, they're a pet unit. I have 10 of them. I've won them once. I've been disappointed. So, Venatori. Not much to say. They don't really do much besides shoot. And like, I guess a list could be made where you put these guys at the back of your home objective and just skip out on one of these girls. But at that point, you're putting points into, if you put these guys in your home objective, you're a man of culture, because like it will take more than a single Terminator unit of deep shot. It'll take a lot to actually shift these guys off the board, but if you do that, just get ready to not shoot at them at all game. Anyway, Venatori. Weapon Ingress is good, Movement 12 is good, 200 points is bad, they're 10 points cheaper than these guys for just Lance and Weapon Ingress. I think they're solid. I don't think they're mandatory. These guys are mandatory. These guys are good, but their staying power is bad. Their threat is in their weapon ingress strat, and they they tend to get better when paired with these guys. You weapon ingress these guys for free, um, and then spend a CP to bring one of your Terminator units down. So it could be very threatening, um, which is good. I think that's a solid option. They get Lance, which is great. They move 12, which is good. Um, they have the anti. I think they have the fly keyword, which is bad. So okay, Trojan. Every game I've played, I've won Trojan. He is a beast, and he's not. He's at the good price point. I think he's like 160. I wish his toughness was. I wish he was Terminator toughness, but I get it. He's not wearing Terminator armor. That's fine. Um, I know I'm probably wrong in this. I think he is S tier. The double fights first threat of Trojan and saving 2 CP for round 2 is so threatening. You basically then have two. If you've played a white, you have two of the objectives in midfield, and one of them you could fight first with Trojan. The other one you could fight first because you spend your 2 CP. It puts your opponent in such a bind that people in my local, like Warhammer community, have just been flat out ignoring Trajan, and he's just been sitting on the objective. Which there's two ways to look at it. Either your expensive unit did nothing all game, or your expensive unit forced your opponent to completely ignore him all game. Which I look as I look at that as a positive thing. Um, so yeah, I think he belongs up here. That feels right. I want him with God. I don't want him with forwards. I want him with God because I like the reroll to wound. It just makes Trajan even more lethal. And then for the purpose of, and his gun's actually pretty good too, which is nice. Terminator Captain. He's a more expensive Terminator, and his special thing is that on a 2 he can fight on death or something like that. If he gave that to every unit in the model, in the every model in the unit, he's an auto include. You want him every time. As he is, you're paying that he himself would only fight first, which I guess is good because he has like 2 extra swings. I think he has 7 swings, um, which you can make 9 if you give him fucking. Uh, I mean, you could make him good, but that's definitely sunk cost at that point. I think he is bottom of solid. I don't see many people winging him because he doesn't. The ability's not good enough. The fight on death on a 2 is not good enough to justify paying all that points to put him in a 2 or 3 man squad. If you're wanting maxed out units as meme and you're wanting maxed out Terminators, that's funny and I respect you. You would then bring him probably to just keep going into the meme, but that's beside the point. Alright. Blade Champ. He's an actual auto include. You can make an argument that you don't need to bring Trajan. I don't think it's a good one, so I'll move Trajan like down here, but I think he's still S tier. Advance and charge in the same round, once again, rerolling advances and charges, really fucking good. I slap him with wardens to keep him. I won 2 of them actually. My list right now is 2 of these guys, one with Ceaseless Hunter, the other one, just because I have the points for it, is Inspirational Exemplar. I won Trajan. I won 2 5-man, 1 5-man, 2 3-mans, 1 3-man, Sister Unit, and Assassin. That's my list right now. And I've been very successful with it. Oh, and the ability to heroically intervene is fucking fantastic for it. What I do is I set to play tight triangle. Yep. Yep. Blue. But yeah, so I play tight triangle, and one squad is on one objective, the other one is kind of in between, if I can manage, of both Trajan squad and or the other squad. And that way I can, it forces that you lock down a section of the border technically. And if they don't fuck with you, and most of the time they will try to shoot you, you activate the forward field no pain of your wardens, get them closer to, and you just basically after you've locked down one, you leave two of your squads behind. You send your least wounded one forward or your most wounded one forward, depending on your view, to go threaten the home objective, or send them back because at that point they probably deep strike your home objective. The weakness of my list is the counter deep strike, but also your advantage is that you have a lot of deep strike threat as well. So it's very, I don't want to say it's not tricky, but you got to play white with your maneuvering. But this guy's an auto include, and you blink two of them. Watch captain, not watch captain, shield captain. He's good. 7 attacks, free battle tactic, two martial guitars. I didn't realize how much I missed having two, and then once again with three of them active. And then what's his other one? He could be. Oh, that's his first ability, and then free battle tactic. I used to bring him, one him, one him. I've dropped him. And I kind of miss him. Also, Blade Champ Melee is really good. It gives you a lot of flexible options. The Dev Wounds one is typically the best one, though, as a heads up. And if you give him fucking the Hidden Blade or whatever the fuck it's called, give him 2 extra swings. Oh, God, he's even better. I want him with Ceaseless Hunter, though. Because, God, that's even more movement shenanigans to keep your opponent on their toes. Okay, so stop playing you, but I still think you're a solid choice. I think you can make the argument. You're a little pricey though, so I'll put you here. I think you're a solid option. Um, I've the one game I ran him with Sajid. I put him in a squad of Sajid's arm just to see what happened. He single-handedly killed the unit that was charging the Sajid arm. Because I gave him the hidden blade thing or whatever the fuck it's called. I always mix up the name. Um, 9 swings is nothing to scoff at. So, I just think in talking pure meta hound, he's better. This is a movement game. You win games of movement in the movement phase, and I've lost more games in the movement phase than any other phase. I'm Valerian. What does he do? I don't know. I have Valerian. I kit bashed him a little bit because I didn't like the look of him all too much. I don't like non-helmet boys. Unicom 115's really cheap for a leader. Okay. 6 up Fuel and Pain, good. Golden Laurels. Each meet okay, so you saw him with Contempt for Melee, which is really good. Heroes of Lion Team, you can reroll once per battle round. You can reroll 1 hit roll, 1 move roll, 1 saving throw. In addition, once per battle, after making a hit, wound, or saving throw, you could change. So you could auto. For this model. So, okay, so basically, if you want him to keep fighting, and you need to make a certain save, yeah, okay. How's his melee? 7 attacks, strength 8, AP 3, damage 2. That's good. That's really good. Basic shooting. He's good, but all your army's good at killing stuff. He doesn't really do much for you. I mean, the extra AP reduction is really good at melee, but here's the thing: like I think Thunderhammers are AP 2, or more. So probably more actually. Melee flexing to custodes, you're not really worried about AP1 stuff, you're worried about stuff that puts you on your invul. But if you're not charging or fighting first, you're kind of doing something wrong along the way. There should be very little reason, at least the first half of the game, that you are not the one initiating all your fights. Because I don't see many reasons why you would spend CP turn one. You can't really spend CP turn one. You got to save up for like turn two in case you're prepared to get charged or whatnot. I think he's average. I think he fights good, but most of the army fights good. Um, if he applied that arm of contempt to the entire unit he's leading, it's really good. But he doesn't. Oh wait, no, he does, but the other one is just for him. Okay. Then all your sister options. Let's start with the characters. Okay, so Knight Centaur. I don't even know what you do. Abilities that she gets Scout, add 2 to the move, and add 2 to advance and charges. 3 of Feel No Pain against psychic attacks, corner the core. That she forces Desperate Escape. But if you look at her melee's actually not bad. 3-2, 5-2-2. Anti-Psychic 4 Dev Wounds. It's not bad. 5 up Invul sucks. I have 75 points. Any other army, she's pretty good. The named sister, she's 80 points. So, what does she give? Scout 6, 5 up Feel No Pain, Tactical Perception. She auto gives out fights first. Add 1 to the hit roll if you're below. If you're below starting strength, add 1 to the wound roll if it's below half strength. Feel No Pain. Okay, and what's her melee? 4 attacks, strength 6, AP 3, damage 3. Okay, she's actually pretty mean. She's not going down. Well, she's going down easy, but um, she's swinging back. So they're both in any army good. They lead, unfortunately, sisters. I don't know of any list that is wanting heavy. Okay, we'll do this quick. You have your 3 flavors of sister, 1 melee, 1 flamer, and 1 bolter. Or is this the flamer one and this is the bolter? I think this is the bolter one. 50 points for a 5-man, 60-60 for a 5-man. I see no reason to bring, at most, 2 5-mans. I don't see any reason to bring any more than that. I bring 1 to sit on my home objective. So in terms of them, you need to bring they're here. You are paying the tax of wanting something on your home objective. And I see no reason to bring characters with them. You don't want these girls leading your front line. You don't want... And here's the thing. Custodes 10 points, so you could justify... The bolters are the best one, though, by virtue of being the cheapest. Oh, sorry. I guess you could make something weird where you bring her and them so you can't get charged, but most of the time if your opponent is charging it, deep striking something is like Terminators, so sure you may kill, like, she may kill 1, maybe 2, whilst the squad probably picks up another one. Is it worth 130 points? I don't think so. 140 points at that point? I don't think so. I guess you could run her with a 10-man blob, but that is absolutely points, because that's 200 points. That's nearly a full guard of these guys. If I'm doing that, I'd rather just wing Sagittarium at that point, because they'll perform similarly, in my opinion. If not better, because they have better, actually decent shooting. It's gotten to the point where if my opponent targets literally like a full man in shooting, I will just pick them up, because they have no staying power in either shooting or melee, which sucks, but it's just the way of things. They are your goblins. They are your Gretchen. And in that wall, they don't do it great because 50 points for a 5-man for a chaff squad is not good. Um, you're paying a premium, but you're paying the price of having to premium. This feels right, actually. I don't feel like I need to shift all too much. Transport is what's keeping you here. An argument could be made for this being able to carry like 12, but no assault lamp. But also, if you get to an objective, you really don't need to have assault lamp. But yeah, I think this is right. Yeah, this looks good. But I think that is all my time for today because I just got called in to do some work. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will be calling it there today. Hopefully, I could be on later today or tomorrow. So we'll see. Have a nice day.